Revealed. 9 sacred rituals to manifest divine blessings before the new moon. 2 days of prophetic. The banner hung above the little church, swaying gently in the evening breeze. As Mary knelt on the cool stone floor, her heart trembled with anticipation. She poured out her worries, her burdens, and her hopes into the flickering candlelight that danced around her. Deeply entrenched in prayer, she felt the warm presence of divine comfort closing in on her. Just then, Pastor John emerged from the shadows, his face aglow with sacred wisdom. "Mary," he said, his voice a melodic whisper, "the heavens have spoken. We are called to perform 9 sacred rituals to draw down blessings before the new moon." As his words settled softly around her, Mary sensed the overwhelming weight of hope pressing into her spirit. Determined, she gathered her family and friends the very next day under a cloudy sky that threatened rain. "We must trust," she insisted, relaying Pastor John's prophetic messages as they prepared to embark on their journey of faith. The group lit candles for St. Jude, bathed in the golden light of faith, reciting hymns that wove hope into the very air they breathed. With each note, hearts began to soar, lifted beyond earthly trials, even as whispers of doubt skimmed through their midst like a chilling wind. Yet, challenges loomed ahead. Neighbors frowned from their windows, shaking their heads, casting aspersions like storm clouds. "What nonsense!" they muttered, as rain began to pour, drenching their sacred gathering. Mary felt her heart thudding against her chest, threatening to drown in despair. "Stay the course," she urged her weary friends, her spirit ignited with fierce conviction. Just when it seemed faith was faltering, illness struck her home. Little Samuel caught a fever. The heaviness marked Mary's heart like a stone. In her frantic searching for answers, she turned to earthly solutions, attempting remedies and solutions that left her feeling more lost than before. Exhausted and fragmented, she gasped for hope, the darkness closing in like a suffocating shroud. Then one glorious night, a voice louder than doubt spoke within. "Gather," whispered the wind, and suddenly the villagers found themselves in the church once more, united in one mighty prayer. Together they clasped hands, breathing pleas directly into the heavens. In that sacred moment of vulnerability, they called upon God, the tangible presence blooming in the air like a garden after rain. As their voices reverberated, the storm dissipated. A rush of angelic light filled the room, a warmth like summer sunlight wrapped around them. Murmurs of awe rippled through the congregation as they glimpsed the divine manifesting in colors unseen, tears glistening like precious gems on their cheeks. Miracles unfolded. Mary's financial contributions, once monstrous, began to vanish. Abundance flowed, food and offerings generously donated to the cause. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now, let's continue. As days waned into nights, light pierced in from every corner, igniting their community anew. Mary emerged as a beacon. Her unwavering faith orchestrated a grand revival, rekindling hope in the hearts of skeptics. Yet beneath this vibrant joy lingered a shadow, a question. As the new moon crescent hung silently overhead, the villagers felt the pulse of possibility. Would they hold their newfound faith against the trials yet to come, or would their hearts once again wane into doubt? The air buzzed with anticipation, leaving everyone yearning to witness what miraculous wonders awaited. The days marched forward, a steady rhythm of hope and determination. Every evening, Mary and her friends gathered beneath the gentle glow of the moon. They met in the church, a sanctuary filled with whispers of faith and the sweet fragrance of burning candles. As they bowed their heads and linked their hands, a precious energy pulsed between them. The heartfelt prayers rose like incense, filling the spaces where doubt once lingered. Each night, Pastor John shared his wisdom, painting pictures with words, guiding them through the 9 sacred rituals. He spoke of light overcoming darkness, of faith moving mountains. Every lesson was a reminder that the divine could break through the barriers of their fears, a beacon illuminating the path ahead. Mary drank in every phrase, every notion, and felt her spirit grow stronger. Then came a night of reckoning. The church was packed, and the air buzzed with anticipation. Pastor John proclaimed, "Tonight we will perform the first ritual, the ritual of affirmation. We will declare our faith, our desires, letting heaven respond to us." His eyes sparkled with divine fire, and the congregation swelled with excitement. Mary felt her heart flutter. She took a deep breath, the sacred joy bubbling within her. It was time to share her longings with the divine. As she stepped forward, the faces of her friends beamed encouragement. She lifted her voice, trembling yet steady. "I believe in healing. I believe in abundance. Lord, I trust in your plan." Each repetition was a thread weaving her closer to the heavenly embrace. The room vibrated with energy as others joined in, pouring their own desires into the ether. Yet not all was calm. Just outside the church, dissenters gathered, whispering their doubts. "Foolishness," one scoffed, "this will lead to heartbreak." They are chasing shadows, but the warmth of community and faith within the church swelled against the chill of skepticism. "That's just the enemy at work," Mary thought. Her resolve hardened like steel. She stepped outside, catching sight of the doubters. A strange calm settled within her. "Friends," she called, her voice cutting through the night air, "there's power in belief. We are not lost. We are found." Her words hung like a melody in the stillness, and for a moment the air thickened. The faces shifted, doubt wavered in a storm of uncertainty. But then, in a controlled exhale, the villagers returned to prayer. As midnight approached, a sudden stillness enveloped the church. The air shimmered with the sacred presence that had become so familiar. In that moment, the light shining through the stained glass transformed into a myriad of colors, casting a kaleidoscope upon their faces. Murmurs filled the room. Was this a sign of blessings manifesting, or only mere imagination? In that awe-filled silence, the bells of faith began to ring within hearts, resonating with divine love. Yet, somewhere deep inside, a flicker of doubt lingered. Would they truly stand firm as the rituals progressed? Could the foundations of their faith withstand the inevitable storms that lay ahead? As Mary stared into the soft candlelight, hope and concern waged a silent battle within. With the new moon looming, what awaited them on this sacred path? Would the divine intervention shatter their doubts, or were they on the precipice of a challenge that could tear them apart? The night lingered on, full of questions unanswered, as the faithful gathered closer, each heartbeat echoing a mantra of faith. What awaited them on the other side of this celestial journey? The dawn broke gently, casting a golden hue that filled the church windows. Mary awoke with a sense of expectancy, the events of the previous night still buzzing in her spirit. She could feel the stirrings of hope intertwining with the whispers of doubt, creating a symphony of emotions within her. Gathered once more, Mary and her friends found comfort in the rhythm of their collective faith. Pastor John, with a peace that radiated like sunlight, welcomed them. "Today we continue our journey," he announced, with the ritual of gratitude. "We thank the Lord for all we have, all we are, and all we shall receive." Mary's heart soared at the thought of expressing gratitude, the foundation of faith. As they took their places, each person holding a token representing their blessings, she felt a warmth envelop her. It was in the small acts of kindness and love shared among them that the divine hovered nearby, ready to ignite their intentions further. One by one, they began to declare what they were thankful for. "I'm grateful for my family," one friend said, squeezing her token a worn-out little leather bracelet. "For my friends and the support they give," said another, holding a small stone. The sharing resonated like music, growing in strength, wrapping around them as a layer of protection. Mary felt her own gratitude bubbling forth. I thank you, Lord, for this community, for the miracles that flow through our unity. Her voice rang true, infused with sincerity. She closed her eyes, picturing the faces of those who had supported her through trials. Each person's story was woven together, a tapestry of hope under the watchful gaze of the divine. Yet, just outside the church, the dissenters stood firm, their whispers echoing in the crisp morning air. Gratitude is a balm for the naive, one sneered, crossing his arms. They ignore reality. What are they really thanking for? Mary's heart ached at the sight. These were not enemies, they were neighbors, people burdened by their own shadows. She stepped outside, the sun rising fully now. Friends, she called, each of us carries pain, but God comforts those who open their hearts. Her voice trembled with emotion, fueled by love. Some of the dissenters paused, caught off guard by her earnestness. She pressed on, faith lifts us, even if our fears linger. Join us, feel the power of gratitude, and witness the shift in your spirits. In that moment, a flicker of possibility danced in the air between them. A few murmured their thoughts, expressions softening. Maybe they too yearned for healing. Perhaps the rituals could spark a change. Mary returned inside, heart racing, amazed at the openness she witnessed. As the ritual of gratitude unfolded, a palpable shift occurred. The candles flickered brighter, drawing the eyes of every believer. A divine presence wrapped around them like a comforting cloak. Mary could almost see the shadows of doubt dissipate, replaced by glimmers of faith reflecting from the stained glass. Yet concerns brewed in her heart. What if the dissenters turned away again? What if this moment of connection faded away like the morning mist? She could feel a weight pressing on her spirit, a challenge that hadn't yet revealed its face. As they concluded their prayers, a gentle wind blew through the church, carrying echoes of their gratitude into the world beyond. It was then that Mary realized the journey was not just about rituals, it was about transformation in herself and her community. The clock ticked ominously as she contemplated the days ahead. Would the rituals truly lead to divine blessings, or were they merely a pathway for deeper lessons yet to be unveiled? With the new moon drawing near, the sacred path widened with mystery and promise. What further challenges awaited them before the moon reached its peak? The next morning, Mary awakened to the sound of birds singing outside. Light streamed through her window, urging her to rise. Today was the day she had been waiting for, a day steeped in potential. The air felt different, charged with an electric excitement that quickened her heartbeat. She could sense that this was not merely another day. It was pregnant with possibility. As she made her way to the church, a mixture of anticipation and trepidation settled deep in her heart. The ritual of healing was to be held today, a gathering aimed to mend broken spirits and reaffirm hope. Mary could still hear the faint whispers of the dissenters ringing in her ears. Would they come again? Would they see the light? The familiar church walls enveloped her, a sanctuary filled with warmth and love. Pastor John was already there, his presence a steady beacon of peace. He turned toward her with a warm smile. "Good morning, Mary. I can feel a great energy within our gathering today." His words settled around her like a soft embrace. As the congregation began to arrive, Mary could see a blend of faces, some lit with joy, others shadowed by doubt. They were a tapestry of human experience, each person carrying their unique burdens. She looked at her friends, their eyes sparkling with hope, ready to pour out their hearts. She believed today would be transformative, not just for her, but for all. "Let us begin by inviting the light into our hearts," Pastor John said, his voice resonating with authority and gentleness. With that, they spoke affirmations of love, healing, and unity. The collective energy surged, as each word seemed to create a ripple effect of warmth in the room. Mary clasped her hands tightly, feeling the warmth of her friends beside her. She closed her eyes, envisioning a healing light pouring over each person present, a balm for their sorrows, a comfort for their struggles. She began to whisper a prayer, allowing her spirit to connect with the divine. Lord, we seek your healing today. Open our hearts and minds to receive your grace. Moments into the prayers, the room felt heavier, as if an unseen force pressed down upon them. Eyes opened wide, sparking with wonder, as a soft wind swept through the gathered community. The flickering candles danced wildly, casting playful shadows on the walls. Could it be? Divine presence felt tangible, wrapping around them in a gentle embrace. Suddenly, the church doors creaked open, and a few dissenters stepped inside, their faces etched with skepticism but curiosity bubbling beneath the surface. Mary's heart skipped a beat. Could this be the moment of connection she had prayed for? As they hesitated at the threshold, she walked toward them, arms open wide. Welcome. We're not here to judge or exclude. We're here to heal together. One of the men, a furrowed brow betraying his doubt, looked around. Why would you let us in after our words? He asked, a tremor in his voice. It was a chance for acceptance, for understanding. Because we believe in love's power, she replied earnestly, her heart swelling. You are welcome here. We're all searching for the same thing, a little light when the darkness feels overwhelming. As they joined the circle, tentative but willing, Mary felt a shift in the atmosphere. It was as if the air crackled with hope. She glanced around at the congregation, faces alight with compassion for their neighbors. Would the act of joining hands across the divide bridge the gaps of misunderstanding once and for all? With each passing moment, as the prayers deepened and the light billowed, Mary sensed that transformation was imminent. However, shadows of reluctance still clung to some. What if the healing they sought remained out of reach? As they reached the heart of the ritual of healing, a sacred stillness enveloped the room. Each soul lifted their intentions to the heavens, but a question lingered, echoing silently in Mary's spirit. Would this newfound unity withstand the trials ahead? Would they be able to hold on to this fragile connection as the moon waxed full? The stage was set, but what awaited them next, beyond the light of the risen moon? The air thickened with anticipation as the first soft notes of the chorus began to weave through the church. Voices rose in harmony, a melody that seemed to transcend their individual worries. Mary could feel the souls around her come alive, each note touching something deep and sacred within. The energy was electric, wrapping them together like a sacred thread. As they sang, Mary closed her eyes once more, letting the music wash over her. She envisioned a tapestry of light enveloping every person in the room, creating an unbreakable bond forged in faith and compassion. With each refrain, she sensed healing weaving through shattered hearts, offering solace even to the most hesitant among them. Pastor John extended his arms, and the congregation responded, standing together as one. Their unity felt like a force pulsating in the air. Let us pray for those who find it hard to believe, he declared, his voice firm yet tender. May their hearts be opened, and may they see that we stand not divided, but in grace, shoulder to shoulder. Mary knew this was a pivotal moment. She looked over at the dissenters, their eyes now more curious than skeptical. There was a hum of surprise and reverence among them. They began to engage, sharing gentle glances, perhaps even hoping against hope that healing was possible. Could they genuinely claim that love conquered all? With this shift, the holy atmosphere grew even more profound. Mary decided to take a step further, sharing her own story, the one that had become her guiding light in dark times. I once felt lost, too, she began, her voice steady, yet filled with emotion. But in my darkest hour, I found the love of a community who lifted me when I couldn't stand. Her words lingered in the air like a warm breeze. Some nodded, others seemed to lean in closer. We are here to embrace, to understand, to rebuild. No one is here to judge you, Mary said, glancing at the newcomers. The sincerity in her voice resonated with the entire congregation and seemed to soften even the most hardened hearts. A flickering candle flickered with an unusual brightness, mesmerizing everyone gathered. It felt as if the divine light was showing them the way forward, whispering promises of hope. Mary noticed tears glistening on the cheeks of a woman standing nearby, someone who had entered with uncertainty but was now visibly moved. Then, something extraordinary happened. The wind swelled again, swirling around them, as if the very heavens accepted their togetherness. In that moment, Mary saw faces transform. Fear melted away, replaced by glimmers of faith. Their struggles were not theirs alone anymore. Each individual was bound to the next, a community written upon the very fabric of their shared stories. Yet, still, doubt lingered on the periphery, a silent question hanging unaddressed. Can healing truly erase the past? Will the scars they carried vanish or merely fade? Mary could feel the weight of such apprehensions, breathing life into them like shadows dancing in candlelight. As they transitioned into a moment of silent prayer, she urged their spirits to embrace this unity deeply, to find strength in shared vulnerability. The candles cast their soft glow, illuminating faces reflecting courageous hope, yet still searching for clarity. Finally, Pastor John broke the silence softly. Now, let us reach out into that deep well of faith, asking for the strength to face the storms ahead. His words resonated within the heart of the gathering. As they joined hands tightly, Mary's spirit soared. This connection was sacred. But what lay in store as they left this sanctuary of healing? Would they be ready to confront the challenges that waited beyond the sanctuary walls? What awaited them in the world outside, further trials or transformative blessings? As the last notes of their song echoed softly, the question lingered. Was this healing merely the beginning of an even greater journey ahead? The sun dipped low as they stepped out of the church, the sky painting a masterpiece of crimson and gold. Mary felt a soft breeze brush against her face. It was a reminder that the Spirit had followed them beyond the walls. She looked at the faces around her, lit with hope yet shadowed by uncertainty. This was a new beginning, but beginnings often came with their own challenges. Confident in their unity, the congregation gathered in small clusters on the church steps. Whispers filled the air, a mix of encouragements and cautious hesitations. Mary felt drawn to the woman who had shed tears during the service. Her name was Linda, and in those moments of connection earlier, Mary sensed a yearning. Stepping closer, Mary smiled gently. "How are you feeling now?" she asked. Linda's eyes gleamed, reflecting the warmth of the sunset. "I'm still processing. It's a lot to take in." Her voice trembled but held strength. Could it really be true? That love can heal. Mary nodded, her heart swelling with compassion. Yes, it can. It doesn't always look how we think it should. Sometimes healing is a journey, not a destination. As they spoke, a few others joined their circle. One woman, Sarah, who had once come to church resentful of what she deemed blind faith, looked at Mary apprehensively. But what if we want to believe and it doesn't work? What if we're still left with our pain? Mary took a deep breath. Each question was a thread weaving into the tapestry of their gathering. Our pain doesn't define us. God meets us in the mess and the shadows. What matters is showing up, being honest. That's where transformation begins. The group listened closely, the weight of her words hanging between them. A child, playing nearby, giggled a sweet, innocent sound piercing the heavy air. It reminded Mary that joy was equally present, even in uncertainty. Just then, Pastor John approached, sensing the energy brewing. "What a beautiful moment we have here," he said, his presence radiating warmth. "Remember, faith isn't the absence of doubt. It's choosing to trust despite it. We are a family, and families grow together. Let's walk this journey side by side." Murmurs of agreement echoed, filling the space with a sacred resonance. As Linda smiled, some of the heaviness seemed to lift. Mary felt a flicker of divine hope shine through their shared vulnerability. The congregation began to move towards the parking lot, where laughter and chatter gradually took over the evening. It was clear, though challenges awaited outside the sanctuary, so did blessings waiting to unfold. Each car became a vessel of hope, with folks sharing stories and finding new depths of connection. As Mary drove home, her heart felt lighter. But deep within, nagging questions lingered. Would they hold on to this newfound faith through hardships? Would they find the courage to speak their truth and lean on each other? She glanced in the rearview mirror. The sky darkened, revealing a starry expanse. Each star seemed to whisper promises of hope and new beginnings. As she pulled into her driveway, Mary couldn't shake the feeling that the night held something significant in its embrace. But what if this moment was a precursor to a fresh revelation, a calling that would challenge everything she thought she understood about community and healing? With that thought, a thrill coursed through her. Tomorrow would bring new opportunities, and the shadows that loomed outside the church were not the end. Could they be a beginning, the catalyst for a transforming journey? The morning sun broke through the remnants of night, spilling soft light across the kitchen table where Mary sipped her tea. The warmth of the cup cradled in her hands felt comforting as she recalled last night's gathering. It was a night of whispers, of fears laid bare, of hope ignited in hearts that had long been dimmed. How often did we forget the power of simply being together, she mused. With renewed determination, Mary decided to reach out to the others. She pulled out her phone, hesitating slightly as she thought of how to engage. Words of encouragement felt vital, like the lifeblood of their community. "Let's South meet at the park today," she typed in the group chat. "I want to hear each of your stories. Together we can build something beautiful." A quick response from Linda appeared. "I'm in. I think I need this." Sarah soon followed. "Count me too." As each person confirmed their attendance, an exhilarating sense of expectation filled her spirit. The day ahead felt rich in possibility, teeming with divine purpose. When Mary arrived at the park, the fresh, dewy grass glinted in the sun, and laughter danced on the breeze. Linda was already there, her face lighting up as she spotted Mary. "Hey, I'm really glad you suggested this," she said, almost bouncing on her feet, an infectious energy in her voice. "Me too," Mary replied, feeling a warmth spread in her chest. "It's a space where we can breathe and just be." Others trickled in, and soon the circle grew, laughter and chatter blending like a melody. They settled on the grass, forming a haven of safety where stories could flow. One by one, each shared the struggles they faced, their burdens, their fears. Mary facilitated with gentle guiding words, each voice adding texture to the collective experience. When she turned to Sarah, a quiet courage emerged from the shadows of her previous doubts. "I suppose I always thought of faith as a solitary journey," she started, looking at the others. "But now I see it differently. You all hold pieces of my heart, and it scares me to be this vulnerable." Mary watched as the group nodded, understanding illuminating their expressions. "That's brave, Sarah. Your truth invites others to share theirs too. Remember, it's in our vulnerability that God meets us." As her words settled, there was a noticeable shift in the air, like the atmosphere itself acknowledging their honesty. The sacredness of their circle grew thicker, almost tangible. A butterfly danced nearby, reminding Mary of the beauty in transformation. In that moment, Linda stood and raised her hands, her voice rising with passion. "I want to invite us to share what we're grateful for, something good from this past week. Let us declare our blessings." The group echoed her sentiment, and one by one, simple yet profound declarations filled the park. "I'm grateful for the sunshine," said one person. "I'm thankful for my family," echoed another. Tears of connection glimmered in Mary's eyes as she listened. Each word became a thread, weaving them closer. Together, they were crafting an unbreakable bond, realizing that through sharing light and darkness, they were not just surviving, but thriving. As they concluded, a calm settled within Mary. Each of them stood taller, renewed by their shared journey. But a flicker of anxiety lingered what awaited them beyond today. What challenges loomed on the horizon that might threaten this fragile unity? Standing, Mary drew everyone into a huddle. We VE come together today, but let us remember challenges may come, but we carry each other now. Together, we can face anything. She felt the energy pulsate around them, an unspoken promise of resilience. As they released from their huddle, joy bubbled anew, filling the space with hope and laughter. But little did they know tomorrow would bring a trial, one that would test their strength, one that would reveal deeper layers of faith and unity. Would they rise to the occasion, or would doubt constrict the budding seeds of hope? As dusk began to fall, Mary looked up to the sky, filled with questions, excited yet apprehensive about what would unfold. As morning dawned again, the sun painted the world in hues of gold and warmth, but there was an unease within Mary. She could feel the air thick with anticipation, almost like the moments before a storm. It weighed on her, a tangible pressure that clung to the back of her mind. Today is crucial, she thought, pulling herself from bed. Stretching and breathing deeply, she called upon the strength of faith. She reached for her Bible, letting familiar words wash over her. Each passage felt like an anchor in a turbulent sea. When she stepped into the park later that day, the familiar laughter and chatter of her friends greeted her. They were gathered in the same circle again, but this time, something felt different. The energy was charged, almost electric, as they shared knowing glances. "Good morning, everyone," Mary exclaimed, trying to mask her concern with a smile. As they settled down, Linda was the first to speak. "I had the strangest dream last night," she began, her voice laced with a mix of excitement and anxiety. "I dreamt we were all standing together, but something kept trying to pull us apart. I felt this sense of urgency, like we needed to cling to one another." The group nodded, sharing knowing looks that whispered of their own restless nights. "It's like we sensed the challenges coming," said Sarah softly, her voice tinged with a hint of fear. "What do we do when we feel that pull?" Mary's heart raced. "Maybe it's a call to faith," she ventured. "Just as we're called to gather and share, we're also meant to fight against whatever seeks to draw us apart." Little by little, they began to unveil their hearts, sharing dreams that felt almost prophetic. James, usually quiet, spoke up. "I've been feeling an internal battle. I can't shake the feeling that a storm is brewing, a trial we must face together." "Then let us prepare ourselves," Mary suggested, her spirit ignited by their vulnerabilities. "Let us create a sacred space here today. We can pray together, inviting God's presence into our fears. What better way to strengthen our bond than through prayer?" With a collective nod, they formed a tighter circle, holding hands as Mary led them in prayer. Her voice rose with passion, drawing upon each person's inner strength. "Lord, we gather before you now, laying down our fears and anxieties. We ask for divine protection, for clarity in the coming days. Let us feel your presence, bolstering us against whatever challenges lie ahead." As they prayed, a stillness enveloped them, wrapping around their hearts like a comforting embrace. In that moment, Mary felt a flicker of grace, a warmth spreading within her, pushing back the anxiety. Each face around her shone with a renewed energy, mouths moving in silent agreement, reinforcing their unity in spirit. As they finished, the atmosphere shifted, pregnant with divine promise. Tears brimmed in Sarah's eyes. "I feel lighter, more at peace. It's amazing we're somehow stronger together." A soft wind rustled through the leaves, the gentle sound echoing the unspoken agreements among them. Each heartbeat felt synchronized, like a collective prayer floating to the heavens, a testament to their faith and resolve. Yet, as they began to release one another's hands, Mary felt a wave of uncertainty wash over her. Something was on the horizon, like dark clouds gathering. What if our bond is tested before we're ready? She pondered silently. The light of the evening sun began to fade, the shadows lengthening around them as they packed up their things. Mary's heartbeat quickened at the thought of potential trials looming. What if we need to brace ourselves for what's to come? She spoke up, looking around at her friends. There was a moment's pause before Linda replied tentatively. But what if we're exactly where God wants us to be? As the last rays of sunlight flickered out, the group lingered, uncertainty palpable in the cool evening air. Gripping her hands together, Mary whispered, "Whatever may come, we stand united. Greater things are ahead, but can we bear it?" With that question lingering in the twilight sky, a palpable tension hung heavy, filled with the promise of what was yet to be revealed. What truths would emerge when dark clouds finally broke? Would they have the faith to meet them head-on? The following day dawned with a weight that seemed to press upon the world. Birds sang, but their melodies felt distant, as if the songs were echoing from places far beyond reach. Mary walked through the park, her heart a mix of expectation and dread. She couldn't shake the feeling that something pivotal was coming just beyond the horizon of their awareness. When Mary arrived, her friends were already waiting. Their faces bore the same unsettled expressions she felt inside. Linda waved, but her smile didn't quite reach her eyes. "I've been thinking about yesterday about your question," she said, her voice soft and hesitant. "We have to prepare now, not later," Mary replied, an edge of determination creeping into her words. "This isn't just a thought. This is about standing together as one." James stepped forward, his brow furrowed. "What if we're feeling this way because we're meant to act? Maybe it's time we do something more than just pray. What if our prayers need feet?" "Feet?" Sarah asked, her curiosity piqued. "Yeah, we can't just sit and wait for whatever storm is coming. Let us listen to God's guidance and take action," James suggested. Mary felt a spark ignite within her. What if our first step is reaching out to others? We can invite more people into our circle, share this journey. We can strengthen not just ourselves, but our community. Linda's eyes widened. What if we held a gathering? A place for people to share their burdens and prayers, to come together. It could be powerful. "Absolutely," exclaimed Sarah, her enthusiasm contagious. "We need to band together to show our faith in action." With their hearts united by purpose, a collective energy pulsed, invigorating their spirits. They began to discuss how they could organize this gathering, their collective thoughts blending into a tapestry of hope. The sunlight shifted, casting rays that illuminated their path, a divine spotlight guiding them. Mary felt the presence of something greater amongst them, a tangible reminder that they were not alone. She closed her eyes for a moment, inhaling deeply, feeling the weight of their mission. Days flowed into each other as they planned, but unease remained. Every evening, Mary found herself staring at the twilight sky, haunted by the questions that lingered what lay ahead. Would they be ready when the winds shifted? The day finally came. The air buzzed with anticipation. As evening approached, the park transformed into a sanctuary filled with gentle light. Lanterns hung from trees, casting a warm glow over the gathering space. More faces appeared, drawn by the invitation that had whispered through their community. Mary stood at the front, heart racing. She looked at her friends, seeing the fear, hope, and determination reflected in their expressions. "Tonight, we are here to share, to listen, and to support one another. No matter our trials, we know we can lean on each other," she proclaimed, her voice steady yet trembling with emotion. As they began to share stories, words intertwined like delicate threads, weaving a rich tapestry of collective faith. Each story was a brushstroke on the canvas of their spirits, revealing the beauty and pain they all carried. Whispers of hope filled the air as they prayed together, uniting their spirits and hearts. Then, just as the night folded into itself, a chilling breeze swept through, chilling them to the bone, but it was accompanied by an undeniable presence. Mary felt that the atmosphere shifted. The group paused, silence settling around them like an unspoken promise. "What is happening?" Linda asked, a hint of fear creeping into her voice. Mary, trembling slightly, closed her eyes. "I don't know, but I can feel a movement in the spirit. Something is about to change." With that statement, every heart in the circle held its breath. The air felt electric, pregnant with possibility. What divine revelation awaited them beneath the veil of night? Would they witness the supernatural unfold as a response to their faith? In the depths of that silence, the shadows deepened, and uncertainty slithered like mist between them. With the evening deepening, the question hovered. What would the night reveal when they ventured beyond their fears and into the embrace of faith? The air was thick with suspense as Mary and her friends held their breath, the gentle hum of anticipation wrapping around them like a delicate shroud. In the dim glow of the lanterns, their faces illuminated, they could see the collective resolve settling among them. "What if this is our moment?" whispered Sarah, her eyes wide, reflecting both fear and hope. Mary glanced around the circle, sensing that they were on the precipice of something profound. This was more than a gathering. It was a turning point. The wind picked up again, rustling the leaves and creating a chorus of whispers. Pastor John stepped forward, a knowing smile spreading across his face. "Friends, I believe we stand on sacred ground. Let us invite the divine into this moment. Let our hearts be open to the transformation waiting for us." As he spoke, Mary closed her eyes, inhaling deeply. She could feel a surging energy pulsating in the air, a divine presence that seemed to wrap around each individual like an embrace. "Lord, guide us tonight. We come before you with open hearts," she prayed fervently. The congregation echoed her words, their voices rising in unity, fear, and doubt gradually peeling away like layers of paint from a weathered wall. Mary opened her eyes, watching as their vulnerabilities turned into strength, their individual burdens shared as the tapestry of their community grew tighter, more resilient. Then, a spark ignited in the center of their circle. It started as a flicker, but quickly transformed into a radiant light. With astonished gasps, they watched as the illumination grew, swirling colors danced before them, enveloping the gathering in warmth. Mary felt tears prick her eyes, the overwhelming love spilling forth like a fountain of grace. "This is it," someone cried out, and the words rippled through them like a wave, sealing their faith in a precious bond. "We are not just observers. We are participants in this miracle," James added, his voice vibrant with enthusiasm as he clasped Linda's hand tightly. The light pulsed, intensifying the every heartbeat in the space. The air buzzed with an electric hum, resonating with their collective spirit. Pastor John raised his arms, and the congregation followed suit, meeting the divine presence head-on. "Feel that, my friends. This is a manifestation of God's love. We are called to rise and embrace our power." His voice rang out, commanding yet comforting, echoing through the stillness. In that moment, something shifted within Mary. The fears that had once plagued her began to dissipate. It was as if every doubt, every moment of anxiety was swept away by a tide of divine assurance. "We are never alone," she whispered, her voice barely audible yet profound in its truth. Tears flowed freely now, not of sorrow, but of immense gratitude. The community surrounded her in that shared moment of divine connection. Faces lit with joy, and laughter bubbled up like springs of fresh water. "Let us share our dreams," shouted Linda, her enthusiasm infectious. "We need to speak what we want to manifest." One by one, they began to voice their hearts. "I dream of healing. May our struggles fade away. I hope for unity in our community." Each statement was a brushstroke on the canvas of their collective hope. As they spoke, the radiant light thickened, wrapping around them like the love of God. What began as a flicker evolved into flames of divine presence, bathing them in warmth. Mary felt those flames chase away her shadows, igniting an unquenchable fire within. Suddenly, a loud clap of thunder rumbled in the distance. The heavens seemed to respond, and though it struck with the weight of the unknown, Mary felt only peace. "Even storms are part of his plan," she exclaimed, emboldened. "We will weather any trial together." The beliefs that once felt fragile now stood firm, grounding them through impending challenges. They were a woodland of faith, together rooted in shared experiences. As the storm approached, they wouldn't falter. Their eyes shone like stars in that glowing light, and as the first raindrops splattered down, a gentle laughter echoed around them. They danced in the rain, holding hands, allowing the refreshing droplets to wash away any lingering doubts. Mary felt exhilarated. This was their moment. Just as the light intertwined around them, a powerful realization settled in her heart. They held the potential of something incredible, a community bound not by perfect circumstances, but by unwavering faith, acceptance, and transformative love. The storm passed, but the rain continued to fall, drenching the earth. Each face reflected joy. With the moon glowing softly above, Mary knew that this gathering was just the beginning of a journey that was both challenging and profoundly beautiful. As the night drew to a close, surrounded by laughter and an unbreakable bond, Mary felt the divine whisper that they were ready. Together, they had woven a tapestry of light that would shine through the trials and tribulations ahead. Their hearts rhythmically beat as one, a collective spirit empowered by love. Now the true test lay ahead. How they would carry this sacred experience into the world, holding on to their faith despite the waves that would come. We can do this together, she thought, the promise driving them forward step by step into the vast unknown. Friends, this is your moment. You need to subscribe now to ensure you don't miss the next exclusive faith stories that will change your life. Leave a like now, because every click feeds the algorithm and pushes these divine messages into the hearts of those who need it. Comment below, share your reactions to this monumental ending, your own testimonies of faith, and let your voice mingle with the chorus of hope. And don't wait even one more second to share this video. Send it to at least 5 friends who truly need to witness this manifestation. Together, we can spread the light of faith and love to all.